I'm working on this 1961 wheel horse, model 401. In the last video, I finished up the clutch linkage and the lift cable, and I also cleaned up the steering parts. This time I'm going to start by putting those steering parts on, just so I can move it around easier while I'm working on it. This is the lower set screw collar. I sanded the bottom flat because it had a groove worn in it from riding on this tube here. And this is the upper set screw collar. I bored the hole out a little bigger so I could slide it up the shaft and not tear up the paint anymore. First I'm going to put some grease on some stuff. Both set screw collars go on before the gear goes on, and they're oriented the same way they were when they came off. Normally you'd put this roll pin in there, but I'm going to take this apart to put the hood on, and probably more than once, so I have a dowel pin instead. I had to grind it to length so it can fit down into the tube on the frame, but it'll work temporarily so I can push the tractor around easier. I thought I greased that hole a long time ago, but I had to check again. You want to rotate the shaft a little bit to line up the teeth as it goes in. The lower set screw collar should keep the little round gear from going down too far. First, make sure the front wheels are straight. Then I feel under there to make sure the upper gear and the steering shaft are resting on the lower gear. With my left hand, I'll lift the shaft about 1/16 of an inch and keep the set screw collar seated with my thumb while I tighten the set screw. Now I should be able to turn it right or left without the gears rubbing in the wrong place. I'm going to slide the upper set screw collar up and tighten it, and that keeps the shaft in place. Now it steers like it should, and I can push it around easier when I'm working on it. Next I'm going to work on the fenders and toolbox. These parts were painted at some point. Nothing else on the tractor has that type of paint on it. This tractor may have been shipped without the optional toolbox and fenders. Then at some point the owner found a used toolbox and fenders, repainted them, and installed them on this tractor. You can tell they were optional in 1961 by looking at the cover of the manual. The model 401 in that picture has no fenders or toolbox. The first thing I want to do to this is take it apart. So I'm going to wire brush these threads here. I put these fenders and toolbox through my normal cleaning process, but this top layer of paint didn't come off of there. So I'm going to try a few things here. I have some coarse steel wool. It looks like it's cleaning the paint, not really digging in. This is an abrasive pad, kind of like a heavy-duty Scotch-Brite. It's doing about the same as the steel wool. So I'm going to wet sand it with this 320 grit. That should do good if the surface is flat enough. Yeah, that's taking the paint off. At least I can see something happening. Well, this seems to be the way to do it, but it's going to take a while. So I'm going to do the top side that you can see most of the time, and not do the back side that'll be behind the tire. That's going to look pretty good there. I'm going to work on this off camera for a bit and show more later. Here's the before and after shot. I hope it's not too shiny for the rest of the tractor. I'll do the other one off camera and see how that turns out. Those turned out okay. Now I need to clean these nuts and bolts. I'll just show one of each type. I'm ready to bolt these together. Everything looks okay. I did the outside of the toolbox, but not the inside. The wide slot is the front of the toolbox, because that's where this seat spring goes in. The rear of the fenders are higher. This mark is from the seat rubbing. Now for the WD-40. Well, that one finally quit working. Gotta get a different one. Now I gotta clean the seat spring and then the seat. This cable goes through the toolbox, so I have to disconnect that for a bit. I don't think I like that shorter bolt. After it goes through the spring and the toolbox, there might not be enough thread engagement. Here's one that looks like the longer one, so they'll match. I just realized I didn't clean the cable hold down, so I'll go do that. I sprayed it with WD-40 too, so it's ready to go. You can tell by the paint marks that the hold down goes under the front bolt. I need to lower the lift lever so I can pull the cable out a bit. I'm going to bend the cotter pin this time because I don't expect to take it apart again. I'm going to put the seat in the front hole because I have short legs. I cleaned the nut and bolt for the seat off camera, so it's ready to go. The rear section just didn't complete without a few more things here. This is the shifter boot that was on there. It's still in good shape. I don't know if it's the original or not. And the shifter knob. That all feels good. Well, that's as far as I'm going this time, and here's what it looks like. The fenders should blend in better after the WD-40 dries up and some of the shine goes away. I like it so far. Alright, that's it.